is here.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We're ready to begin this evening's board meeting. The school board meeting of February 25th, 2020 is now called to order. The time is 6 p.m. At this time, we request that all electronic devices be put in the silent mode. Also, we ask that you please refrain from using flash photography except during the special presentations portion of the meeting. We would like to take this opportunity to remind the members of the public of the district's mission, which is to ensure that each student achieves his or her highest personal potential, and also of the district's vision to be a world-class school system. Prior to the start of the board meeting, we have been enjoying the Cypress Lake Middle School Jazz Band under the direction of Steve Dean. The jazz band consists of 18 7th and 8th grade students. These students not only play in the jazz band, but all participate in other programs at Cypress Lake Middle School, including wind ensemble, symphonic band, orchestra, and others. What a talented group. In December, the Cypress Lake Middle School Jazz Band had the opportunity to perform as the pep brand for Cypress Lake Middle's first ever United Athletes basketball game, a group that is connected with Special Olympics. They also recently hosted Cypress Lake Middle's first ever Winter Gala fundraiser concert. Earlier this evening, they performed Blue Dinosaurs by Dean Sorensen and Caracas by Lou Donaldson, arranged by Terry White. At this time, they will perform See If I Don't by Sergeant First Class Paul White of the United States Army Jazz Ambassadors. Please enjoy. time, we'll pause briefly to clear the performance area. Was it on? Okay. This evening, Dr. Atkins is not with us, and we wish him well. And thankfully, Dr. Angela Pruitt will serve as acting superintendent for us tonight's meeting. At this time, please welcome Yamisil Bermudez, our student representative this evening from the School Board Student Advisory Committee. Yamisil is an 8th grader at Varsity Lakes Middle School. He likes to read and play the saxophone. Yamisil is a member of the National Junior Honor Society and won 3rd place in their fall competition. In high school, he would like to become the saxophone section leader for the band. Yamisil also hopes to start a career in politics. Welcome, Yamisil. This evening's agenda includes the invocation, the Pledge of Allegiance, one recognition, public comment, consent action items, which include 8 items under Executive Services, 3 under Academic Services, 1 item under Business Services, 2 items Human Resources, 3 items Information Systems, as well as 5 items under Operations. 1 item under Attorney Recommendations, which is good cause. Mr. Quick, please provide an explanation for this 1 item.
It's an item for the approval to terminate a school bus fuel agreement with Goodwheels, Inc. as a result of Goodwheels, Inc. ceasing operations, and it would also provide, the approval would provide authorization for the superintendent to collect any monies owed to the district by Goodwheels, Inc. under that agreement and execute all related documents.
Thank you, Mr. Quick. As presiding officer, I find there is good cause to add this 1 item to the agenda. Also, Included in the agenda is one item for public hearing and 4 items under other business. Board members, is there a motion to adopt the agenda?
So moved.
Moved by Mrs. Giovanelli,
Second.
second by Ms. Gittens. Please record your vote. Motion carries 7-0. This evening, Ms. Patrica will deliver the invocation, after which Ms. Jordan will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Please rise for the invocation.
Dear God, we come to you as we are. Lift us up, Lord. Strengthen us with your Spirit and bless us with your graces so that we can carry on until we see the light at the end of the tunnel. Sometimes we may feel our crosses now are too heavy to carry. We surrender them to you and ask that you help us get through all our troubles. Bless us with wisdom so that we can put all our worries and problems in proper perspective. Make us more patient so that we can hold on until you turn things around. This we ask in your name. Amen.
Amen.
Introducing the cadet who is presenting the national colors for our Pledge of Allegiance. Tonight is Command Sergeant Major Kevin E. Williams, Army instructor from Ida S. Baker High School. Sergeant Major Williams served 32 years in the Army in various assignments, including Operations Iraq Freedom and Desert Storm, Desert Shield as a combat medic. This is Sergeant Major Williams' 6th year as a JROTC instructor in the district, and thank you so much for your service.
Yes, ma'am. Presenting the national colors tonight is Command Sergeant Major Lillian Vieira of the Ida S. Baker Bulldog Brigade. Cadet Vieira is a real asset to her community. Cadet Vieira was nominated and selected for the prestigious Cape Coral Chamber of Commerce Junior Leadership Program. Due to her leadership abilities, she was also selected to attend the Southwest Florida Lead Like a Girl conference. She is actively involved in junior ROTC and the teams as a Bulldog commander for the Raider team, competing at both the national and state levels. Cadet Vieira aspires to attend the University of South Florida to study pre-medicine, where she plans to become a surgeon, and also earning her degree in the Army ROTC program there. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be seated.
While everyone's taking their place, I'll begin to read. I would like the following individuals from Lehigh Senior High School, please join me at the lectern. Mrs. Davina Perez, Secretary, Student Services, Mrs. Jackie Corey, Principal, as well as Lehigh Senior High Assistant Principals. Please join me at the podium. And while they're coming, I will read. I would also like to invite Dr. Spiro, Chief Academic Officer, Dr. Angela Pruitt, Chief Human Resources Officer, and Mr. Clayton Simmons, Executive Director of School Support. Okay. The Lee County School-Related Employee of the Year program provides an opportunity to recognize members of the district's support staff who contribute to their school or department and build positive relationships with those he or she encounters daily. Each year, the district chooses one individual whose dedication and attitude exceed the norm. The receipt of this year's award is Mrs. Davina Perez, Secretary and Student Services at Lehigh Senior High School. Mrs. Perez has been with the district as a secretary for 2 years. She now joins an elite group of people, the school district's best of the best support personnel. Let me read a few quotes that were submitted on behalf of Mrs. Perez. We are so grateful for Davina and her dedication to our staff, students, and the community. She gives 100% to help support all things Lehigh Senior. Her enthusiasm, love, passion, and heart for this school family is evident in everything she does. I could not be more thankful for the 1,000,001 ways she steps up. And we are beyond, and we are beyond lucky to have her. And that's from Jackie Corey, principal. Davina embodies what makes Lehigh Senior a special place. During the school day, you can find Davina helping our staff. When the school day is over, you can find her extending the day by coaching, volunteering, supporting other programs, or running a fundraiser. On a scale of 10, Davina's work ethic is an 11, from Liam Farrell, assistant principal. And finally, Davina projects a warm, cheerful attitude to our students every day. She is inviting, welcoming, caring, and loving. She is an all-around amazing human being, from Veronica Young, assistant principal. The school board and superintendent are pleased to recognize Mrs. Davina Perez as Lee County's 2020 School-Related Employee of the Year. Congratulations.
How are you? Good. Come on. I want to stand.
Smiles in 3, 2, 1. 3, 2.
Thank you all for being here, and congratulations, Davida. Next on the agenda is public comment. Mr. Quick, please address the agenda item of public comment.
School board policy provides the opportunity at this point in the meeting to address the board concerning any matter on this meeting's agenda. or any other matter relevant to the operation of the school district. If you completed a card and submitted it to me or Ms. Johnson before the meeting began, you will be called in the order of the cards submitted. If you did not submit a card but still wish to address the board this evening, Mrs. Fisher, the board chair, will give you an opportunity in a moment to express that desire. The rules concerning comment are posted in the back of the room. The board does not respond during public comment time to remarks made by speakers. At the end of the public comment period, the board chair will address the assignment of any concerns or requests made during public comment to the superintendent. Speakers and those attending the meeting are expected to act in a respectful manner. Attacks on individuals or abusive comments are prohibited. In addition to clapping, booing, hissing are prohibited. Speakers who fail to follow rules regarding quorum should be ruled out of order. Any speaker continuing with such remarks will be required to relinquish the lectern per Board Policy 1.11. The time per speaker is 3 minutes. Madam Chair, I have 13 cards.
Is there anyone on the right side of the auditorium who has not filled out a card and wishes to speak? Okay, when you get to the podium, please state your name and provide information to Ms. Johnson. Anybody on the left side of the auditorium? Okay, thank you. Mr. Quick, please call the first card.
Tisha Bain.
My name is Tisha Bain. I am the mother of twins who are currently juniors in the IB program at Fort Myers High School. I'm here today to represent the many IB parents at Fort Myers High School who have strong concerns regarding the possibility of moving away from the block schedule to a 7-period class schedule for the 2020-2021 school year. As I am sure the members of the school board know, the IB program has a college-recognized curriculum. The rigorous work class load of the IB program will become unmanageable in a 7-period class schedule. A 7-period schedule will not provide enough class time for testing and labs and will segregate the IB students from the rest of the school due to the elimination of any electives. The elective classes like music and band and dance provide the IB students with a well-rounded schedule that's manageable under the block scheduling. According to the National Education Association, benefits of block schedule include, but are not limited to, stronger teacher instruction, higher student engagement, more time for individualized instruction, and a stronger depth of the school subject matter. A Bright Hub study showed higher graduation rates for block scheduling because students settle into better time management patterns. Block scheduling allows students to be able to manage their coursework and participate in extracurricular activities. I have encouraged my kids to get involved at the high school from day one, and a move to the 7-period schedule would mean they have to drop their extracurricular activities as well as electives, or possibly drop out of the IB program. After 2 years of pre-IB work and almost a full year of IB completed, they, with many other students, would be faced with very hard decisions that will impact their senior year and beyond. I fully believe in the school program and the teachers and the administration that are currently in place. However, changing the class schedule will hinder the teaching ability and the student learning. Please take these parent and student concerns into consideration for any possible school schedule change. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Victoria Hahn.
My name is Victoria Hahn. I am an art teacher at Fort Myers Middle Academy. And tonight I will be discussing the Designs and Dreams show, which is a very important district show. And my goal is to bring awareness and appreciation to the arts. So Designs and Dreams was created by our former superintendent, Dr. James A. Adams, in 1993. He wanted children's artwork to line the walls of the hallways of the Public Education Center. This show is one of the largest displays of student artwork in the state of Florida. We display over 600 pieces of student artwork from Lee County Public Schools. The student artwork display changes annually. This turnaround usually happens during the second week of summer vacation. Hardworking art teachers work to take down and send back the previous year's artwork and select and reframe the new art in a professional manner. We also work to design the three-dimensional cases to best display the sculptural talents of our district students. The official opening to the public takes place in late September or October. This year it took place on October the 23rd. So I hope you guys appreciate the artwork in the hallways and in the front, and we appreciate that this is a great place to put it. So thank you very much for that.
Thanks.
Tuesday, Shannon.
Good evening, Dr. Pruitt, school board members, and community. I am the mother of both middle and high school children and a familiar volunteer at both schools. My husband volunteers on 2 district committees and at the high school. I am here to express our deep concern for the proposal under evaluation of eliminating the current block scheduling. I recognize that the district wants to increase student achievement. However, providing our teachers with the proper tools and support, including enforcing discipline, is key. Consistent evidence shows that students' grades improve and the number of students on the honor roll increases with block scheduling. A 3-year study in North Carolina reported overall students in block and non-block scheduled schools have equivalent end-of-course test scores. Yet, it should be noted that while scores were equal, students in block schedules earned 8 credits per year, while students in most single-period schools earned less. Analyzing research is complicated since we do not follow the 4-4 block of an entire school year of curriculum in one semester. We need to evaluate our teaching methods to reach the underachieving. Potentially, we need different styles or means. Regardless, we as a community need to reward those teachers that can reach the underperforming students, to retain the teachers and continue the momentum towards achievement by all students. In September 2017, the board adopted Vision 2020. The goal to model continuous improvement organization starts in this room. In order to reach this goal, we need to start with our lowest students while maintaining our highest. We need to stop promoting students who are not ready for the next level in education. Increasing student achievement is a steep hill. We can conquer it by working together. In Vision 2020, it was stated that a goal was increased family and community engagement. As a volunteer in our schools, I can attest that we need more help to make this happen. For these reasons, I'm here today. I want you all to hear that there are parents involved, but we need your help to find more. We all want student achievement. However, we don't want to lose the poise our students have balancing high academic success with arts for a well-rounded individual. I have no doubt that my IB student with a 4.9 GPA would not continue to thrive without vocal arts and dance to balance her mind. She has taken multiple online courses to be able to both dance and sing. Additionally, her incoming freshman sibling deserves the chance to play the trumpet, sing in the choir, and excel in history, his favorite subject. I recognize that your evaluations regarding block scheduling are still in the early stages. I find it important enough to alter my schedule to share my thoughts, as well as those of many others with you tonight. Thank you.
Kevin Daly.
Madam Chair, Acting Superintendent Pruitt, and Board, my name is Kevin Daly. I'm the President of the Teachers Association of Lee County, and I want to rise tonight to thank you guys for the workshop on the millage on the 10th. Unfortunately, I was in Tallahassee meeting with lawmakers, so I wasn't able to attend. I think it's an important next step in the process, and possibly putting it on the ballot and generating what your estimate was almost $84 million a year under the millage. Again, the money can go to recruitment, retention of teachers, programs, any number of things on the operations side. So again, I want to thank you and look forward to continuing to work with you on moving this on the ballot and getting this across the finish line. Thanks.
Next is actually two people signed up together, San Martin Giorgio and Kelly Trebeniak. The third one was crossed off.
Good evening. My name is Giorgio Sammartine. I am from Harns Marsh Academy of the Arts and Academics. I am the drama teacher, and with me is
Kelly Terabenic. I'm the dance teacher at Harns Marsh Academy as well.
And we want to thank you, first of all, for helping us grow the arts within the county. Many of you have entered my classroom. If you don't remember, I made fun of the state legislator, as well as was called Aladdin numerous times, and loved every minute of it. However, we are here to talk about how we are so proud of Lee County and their growing appreciation for the arts, and it's because of you guys as well. Ms. Gittens, I could use all 3 minutes to talk about you and wish I could, but there's not enough time in the world to say how much we appreciate you as well. But we just wanted to let you guys know about some upcoming things and what we have previously done. So Ms. Terabenic will talk about the parade.
Okay, well, this is our second year being a part of the Edison Parade. Last year we were just in dance, and we did win first place last year, but then we thought we would take on a bigger project, per se, and we did enter the Grand Parade and the Junior Parade. We took third place in the Junior Parade and then second place in the Grand Parade, and I know a drama teacher that was Hercules, and a dance teacher that dressed up as a goddess and a warrior. So, but it kind of goes with our theme that we're going to be going into the spring. Like Gio said, like we really appreciate the support that we get out in the Harns Marsh Academy School. The kids are so excited. Some of them told me to tell you that they just love the arts. That's why they come to school. Mm-hmm. And so I just want to tell you thank you from them. I also would like to say that the arts have brought a lot of joy within the school. We've been doing things during the day to try to promote the arts within our school, to grow the numbers. And we have upcoming shows. We have Pandora's Box. We're going to be celebrating different stories of mythology. And so we're going to be doing Hercules, Medusa, Pandora's Box, and tying it all together. It's going to be pretty powerful. And then we also have Music Man, which Gio can tell you about
coming up, our spring musical, and we've already finished the musical. We partnered up with the amazing Lehigh Lightning, the Lehigh Senior High School. However, this spring you will find us partnering up once again with them to do Music Man, our spring musical. And of course, this is our invite to all of you to come out and enjoy and see how much we are a true shining example, not to pat ourselves on the back, but it's because of you all why the arts are growing in this county, and it's because of amazing people like Ms. Gittens and Ms. Giovanelli, who is at the school, who check in with us, and we thank you for that from the bottom of our hearts. So we know you support us, and we love it, and we have so much coming up, so please join us at every event and go to every school and enjoy and love the arts.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Wendy Bennett.
Evening, board members. My name is Wendy Bennett. I'm kind of here on a light subject, and I'll keep it very short. I know I've got 3 moments. I own For the Bride Boutique, located here in Fort Myers. I've been a business owner in the same location for 19 years. And the reason for my attendance here this evening is Christmas holidays came around, and I attended a Christmas party with the new board member of the Boys and Girls Club of Lee County. I had quite a long conversation with her that evening and realized the dilemma that the Boys and Girls Club are in here in our own community. So we started to implement, since December, what can we do to give back to this organization? These kids are in dire need of the funding that is for repairs on the building, plumbing, roofs, and so forth. So myself and the business owner, Hausubu, I'm not sure if you know who that is, he is a huge manufacturer of bridal and prom gowns worldwide. He is located here in Fort Myers. So we paired up together, and we have created an event, and my husband has been to 15 high schools. We have handed out posters. We are having the largest prom warehouse sale in Lee County's history. We're going to give 10% of all of our proceeds back to the Boys and Girls Club here. We're going to keep our funds in Lee County. We're going to keep the sales off of the internet. We are hosting this event this Saturday, the 29th, Sunday, the March 1st, and 7th and 8th. This event is a cash and carry event, and it will be held right off of 6 Mile Cypress at the House of Woo Warehouse. And we're really excited. We also got together with Miss Mary Jo Potter. She is a teacher over at South Fort Myers High School. She's been absolutely wonderful. And I'd like to thank Ms. Gibbons as well. I understand that you've been a great part in spreading the word for this event. So what we took it a little bit further, and the kids over at South Fort Myers High School had to write an essay, it was part of the curriculum for the class, as to why they celebrate their womanhood, why they are a leader in the community. And we were given the essays to choose from to give a free prom dress to the winner, which will be presented this Saturday at our event. So we're very happy about it. We wanted to spread the joy and the word. And my husband just reminded me, we have dropped off the essay, what Ms. Mary Jo Potter had started, for each high school to participate in. So we're willing to give 13, 15 gowns, whatever the case may be, to those young ladies of our community. Thank you. Oh, by the way, we just want to show you one of the dresses, so y'all have an idea.
Very pretty.
The sparkles are always great.
Thank
the
you.
dresses start at $149 for the kids, even the ones that are on a budget and they couldn't afford to go to prom. We wanted to make it so that they were able to wear a beautiful new dress to the event.
Thank you.
Next, April Ketron or Ketron.
Three different posters that Ms. Gittens challenged our students to create for the month of February, and our winners received lunch with Ms. Gittens at our school, and they were invited tonight. Unfortunately, they could not make it, but all of these posters depict our diversity in the East Zone and our support from our board members, which we really appreciate. The next challenge that we will have for our school is we're going to create a school song celebrating our diversity, and then hopefully we'll be able to come present that to you during public comment at one of your meetings. And we appreciate everyone's support. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Great. Awesome.
Samantha Hauer.
Good evening, board. My name is Samantha Hauer. I'm from Mariner High, and I'm an art teacher. I'm here to invite, again, I know Mr. Dahlberg already extended an invitation for the art walk, but I wanted to bring some numbers behind it. After we've finished our sign up and some planning, we have almost 1,600 students that will be participating in some way, whether they're there performing or have pieces of art, or art students volunteering. About 68 teachers and 36 schools. And I know it was attended by all, if not most of you, last year, and so I really do appreciate your time and hope to see you there again. I also want to thank you for the opportunity to let the arts get together on the in-service day. The spring semester gets very hectic for the arts, so that time to get together and that fellowship really, truly means a great deal to us. So I appreciate your support and continued support, and see you on the 6th.
Thank you.
Riley Edney.
Good evening, board. My name is Riley Edney, and I am the Chair of Public Relations in the National Art Honor Society from Mariner High School. And I just wanted to talk to you tonight a little bit and bring some awareness and appreciation to the arts. So for a second, I just want us to think about a world without art. No photographs, no paintings, and no music. A world without art is a world without expression, without freedom. I came across a quote that said, "Art speaks where words are unable to explain." For many, art is the only way to express themselves. For others, art relieves stress. My mother, for example, whenever she's having a rough day, she tends to reach for her camera. She goes outside for a little while and she takes some photographs, and that really helps her to feel much better about any frustrations she's had throughout the day. And for me personally, music has always been such a big help if I'm ever stressed out or anxious or upset. And I've also heard many times from many different people that they keep a coloring book for when they get anxious or stressed, even adults, and I do hear this commonly among college students as well. Art helps people, and it moves people, and it inspires them. One of my past art teachers once told me that the earth without art is just because when you remove the letters ART from earth, all you are left with is EH. So please continue to support the arts, because without it, the world would be so plain and empty. We need to encourage people to find that creative energy that we all have the potential for and to express themselves through their art, because you never know what it could do for them. Thank you.
Thank you.
Stephanie House.
Good evening. I'm Stephanie House, and I've spoken to you before regarding this month, Black History Month. This month, dedicated to Black history, was first established by Carter G. Woodson back in the 1800s, I beg your pardon, the early 1900s. And his purpose for establishing this particular month, he coordinated with the Department of Education for the United States in order that we don't lose our history. And unfortunately, that's something that's happening today. Black history, African American history, is not taught in our schools, and unfortunately, it's not in our education books. So we have this month to commemorate our history, and unfortunately, again, you see my particular attire. People ask me and they say, "Oh, that's beautiful. Where do you get that?" I shouldn't have to be questioned about what I'm wearing. It should be just natural. People don't ask people that wear yarmulkes, "Where do you get that?" or "Is that your particular religion?" It should be just something natural that people say, "I like that. Where can I get one?" But that's what happens. I would like anybody in here to, if you know, do you know who Katherine Johnson is? That's the woman that NASA, that was a mathematics science, they depended on her. You know who she is. Do you know she died yesterday? How old was she?
101.
101. But when I asked a child that in one of the schools, they didn't know who she was. That was an educated Black woman, one of the most dangerous things in America. Beg your pardon, the gentleman told you you can't make any snicker or laugh or make any body noises, okay? Anyway, that should be something that's in our history books. But if I ask them who Rosa Parks is, they know who she is. Every year you repeat the same. Martin Luther King Jr., they know who he is. How about Ralph Bunche? Adam Clayton Powell? Shirley Chisholm? Teach them our history. Those that don't learn from it are doomed to repeat it. And guess what? We're not going backwards. It should, if you have a month to learn it, teach it to our children. And that's all children. We're one united nation. Don't divide us. Teach all the children African American Black history. It should be in the history books. If you have a month to celebrate it, then celebrate it. If it's not written there, give the teachers the paperwork, whatever information they need. You can buy it, you can create it, you can Google it, but get it out there. I would love to see one of the teachers dressed like me. Thank you.
Jill Moreland.
Good evening, school board members. My name is Jill Moreland, and my two sons currently attend Riverdale High School. On December 19th, I made a public comment to the Independent Sales Surtax Observation Committee on behalf of Riverdale, which is now public record for those who wish to review it. Upon my review of the full ISO meeting minutes, I became aware of the board's desire to promote the great work done by the Change for Change project. I made a suggestion to a board member that the students make a video to showcase Change for Change. Through this suggestion, I found out about the upcoming annual film festival by the district communications director, who informed me that she would advise the film teachers to let their students know about the Change for Change project, which would qualify as a PSA category. I then met with the Riverdale film teacher to explain the needs of the board to promote this project. Film entries are due this week, and it is worth noting that every Riverdale film student was asked to make a PSA for Change for Change. This was a challenging task for the students, especially given the current state of neglect at Riverdale, but I feel confident that we will have some worthy entries for the festival. Since my December 19th report, I have spent many hours both on and off campus thinking of ways to best address the Riverdale problem and essentially rebuild the school while it remains open. I have made several revisions to the December 19th plans as I continue to learn more about the school's immediate needs and existing layout obstacles. I would like to submit a formal request to the board to allow me to meet with Kathy Ebaugh to review my rebuild suggestions for Riverdale. I am requesting that this meeting takes place prior to the release of the next 5-year capital improvement plan to help ensure that the district's funding decisions are in alignment with what Riverdale needs now. In addition to the capital improvements, Riverdale is in severe need of maintenance dollars. It is worth noting, of the $35 million spent on maintenance projects by Change for Change to date, none of it has gone to Riverdale, the largest and 4th oldest high school. This is a travesty. I am in the process of working with the school staff on a priority maintenance project list so that Riverdale can receive the attention it desperately needs, deserves, and has yet to receive. Board member Mrs. Gittens, as my District 5 representative, I've reached out to you twice now via email with no response. I am bringing this to your attention in case it is a technology issue, but I do expect the courtesy of a reply. I feel it is imperative that our elected board members keep open lines of communication to their public in order to successfully do their job. I believe that public documentation of the safety issues currently existing at Riverdale is my best course of action in rectifying this terrible situation. I intend to continue to advocate on Riverdale's behalf via board meetings and public comment until the school receives the fair and equitable funding it needs. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Navarro.
Good evening, Dr. Pruitt, board members, Lou Navarra, 47-year resident of Lee County and teacher with the Lee County School Board many years. I hope Dr. Atkins is in good health. He's always been a gentleman. He does put up with me, but I respect him. So I have some good and bad news about the half-a-penny tax on the roundup. My information from the Department of Revenue says you filed the proper forms and you knew that there was going to be a roundup to 7%, but as I recall, you failed to tell the voters. Transparency or opaqueness, board? Bad news. My contact at the Department of Revenue says that it appears the ballot was false. They are checking. The law states the ballot should have read for or against, not yes and no. I really don't care who is at fault. The supervisor of elections blames you, you blame the supervisor of elections. He explains that constitutes election fraud and there is a department that will investigate voting fraud. We will research this with the person. Transparency or opaqueness. I have spoken time and time again about the half-a-cent sales tax. It should have been changed to teachers and students and subs and support. Talking about a $2 million raise after you get reelected, I know that's what you're going to do. Transparency or opaqueness. We do not need more schools. There is a recession on the horizon thanks to coronavirus. When China sneezes, the world and the USA catches a cold. It's reversed. I'm making a formal request tonight to the board, and I'll put it in writing, who is meeting at the Talc Office Teachers Association. I saw Dr. Kunkel. She retired, but she told me you meet once a month. and I'd like to know who's rotating, and because I've heard only one person goes. I'm not even sure that's legal. Lastly, preview of coming attractions. We're doing some research with, I'll do it with WTSP Channel 10 about teacher and support injuries and workman's comp. They did a real great story with the counties north of us. Guardian program instead of SRO officers. Manatee County contacted me today. So we're going to work on research, and like I always say, I support my talk with facts. And I expect to hear from you about talc, and I'd like to hear what you got to say about your half-a-cent sales tax and about the possible election fraud. And I'm not blaming anybody. That's what the gentleman told me. We will research it. Thank you, Debbie, for this grid, but you're getting the money, not the county, not the state.
The last card is Jerry Ware.
Evening, Board and Dr. Pruitt. I have several concerns this evening, but I'm going to have to get it down to two of them. One of them primarily concerned about is the census. I've had the opportunity to speak at several of the ward meetings, but the other night I spoke over at the Dunbar Community School, and I want to let you know that the majority of the participants at night speak Creole or Spanish. And it was unreal how much I need to go back there. We're going to have to do some training. If we're really going to be able to get those people to fill out the paperwork, we're going to have to help them. And as I've said before, you have to put boots on the ground. You have to meet people where they are. I'm not trying to put anybody down, but when people don't know, they just don't know. And it's up for us to help them to do better. My other concern is a young man. I know he's did something wrong. Cannot call his name, but a 12-year-old. He took the gun to school trying to show off, and as a result of that, he's been suspended from the school. And I understand from the mom that he could have been sent to Success Academy, but the principal chose not to do so. I want you all to consider what a 12-year-old looks like who's been thrown away. I think we all should be given second chances. I would really like for you all to look into it. The mother called me in distress because she knows that I will advocate for children. And what I'm trying to say is this, they put her off. I said, well, why don't you try to get him into another school? The private schools won't take him, nobody. So he is a 12-year-old, not getting any kind of education, and we need to do something about it. I know he did wrong. Sure he did wrong, but he was trying to show off. He had not been in trouble before, so I'm asking you all, would you please look into it and see if there's some way that we can allow that child to go to Success Academy to continue his education, because to be put out into the system, 12 years of age, you know what's going to happen to him. And last but not least, I did go to meet with the legislature. Don't have time tonight to share with you, but I will be back to share with you, because I did meet with the Education Committee and did a lot of stuff, Ms. Patrica, so we've got a lot to talk about. But tonight, my main concern is the census, and I need the schools to do a better job. I was over at Franklin Park. They're really getting out. They're helping me. They have the flyers. I put out flyers there. They're going to help me walk the streets. We got to do a little bit more work. I know what you're saying, Betsy, but we got to come out from the desk, and we cannot rely upon the computers to do it. We're just going to have to be able to put boots on the ground and get out there and educate our people. Thank you all very, very much.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, that's all the cards.
Yes.
But I know that there's at least one
Mr.
in
Martin.
the audience.
Good evening, board members. School board from 1997 until my retirement in 2018. For 7 years of that time period, Heather Wallace served as the Assistant School Board Attorney. When Ms. Wallace first came to the school district, the scope of her work was limited to real estate and construction, but it soon became apparent that she had the ability to take on a lot broader scope of responsibility. She began to work in ESE and charter school issues, and she just progressively took on more responsibility as time passed. In the past 7 years, she has worked as the Assistant School Board Attorney in Pinellas counties, and again, expanding the scope of her expertise and her educational and her experience in terms of education law. Board members, when you hire a school board attorney, you want an attorney who has experience and expertise in the areas of law that a school board attorney regularly encounters. And you want someone who has the temperament to be a successful school board attorney. Now, when you advertise for the school board attorney position, it's a very real possibility that you may not receive any applicants that have that level of qualification. Fortunately for you, you have a candidate who has a high level of experience and expertise in all areas that are part of education law and has a skill set to be a successful school board attorney. You have a wonderful opportunity to appoint Heather Wallace as your next school board attorney. As school board attorney, you encounter a wide scope of legal issues such as construction, land use, procurement, land transactions, ESE matters, student discipline, employee discipline, collective bargaining, public records, sunshine law, safety, budget, finance, legislation, policy development, charter schools. It sounds like an awful lot. That's just a sampling. Believe me, there are many more. It sounds unreasonable to think that one person can deal with all those issues, that you can expect to have a candidate that has experience in all those areas. Board members, you do. Heather Wallace has experience in all of those areas. Not only does she have experience, she's got expertise. She has been certified by the Florida Bar as an expert in education law. Let me say that again. She's been certified by the Florida Bar, not by Keith Martin. You don't have to believe me. She's been certified by the Florida Bar as an expert in education law. She's held that certification for a number of years. Presently, she is the chair of the Education Law Committee. That's the committee of the Florida Bar that receives applications from attorneys who want to be certified as an expert in education law. That committee decides whether they get the certification. They create the test that's used to decide whether an attorney gets that certification. She's the chair of that committee because she's not a follower, she's a leader. Ms. Wallace has the qualities to be a successful school board attorney. Board members, it's a rare opportunity when you have the best qualified person in the state, the opportunity to appoint someone who is the best qualified in the state to a position in the school district. You have that opportunity. Yes, there are sitting school board attorneys that would have more experience than Ms. Wallace, but even if they were here as one of your applicants, I would tell you that she's the best fit for this school district.
Thank you. Thank you for everyone who came to speak tonight. At this time, I'm going to ask Dr. Pruitt if she will address the scheduling issues at Fort Myers High School and the situation at Riverdale. And following that, I'll respond to the rest of the speakers.
Thank you, Ms. Fisher. Relative to the scheduling concerns, I want us to start by saying that there's been no final decisions of any kind that have been made. This came about reviewing all of our student data. While we've done really well, we want a continuous improvement. We want to continue to do better. And one of the things that we have recognized is that our students have less academic time than districts, our comparable districts and districts that outperform us. And so because of that, learning that statistic and that information, we began looking at different options and things that we can do relative to trying to increase that student time. And I know that's going to lead to, anytime that there's change, it's going to lead to concern, but I can assure you that academic services is working with principals. Principals are going to be working with their staffs, reaching out to family communities and taking all the input. So the input that was provided tonight Dr. Spiro has received that information, and we'll definitely, make sure to consider that. And as soon as, anything, decisions or recommendations have been made, they'll come to the board here, and we will certainly make sure that we fully communicate to all constituents relative to this issue.
Thank you.
In terms of Riverdale, what I am aware of is that Dr. Savage and his team have been working with the individual and will continue to do so. And I do know that they are in discussions right now that include some Riverdale items and things. So that is ongoing, and I know the staff will continue to work with her.
Thank you very much. Great. For the people who came to speak about the arts, without the arts, many of our kids wouldn't come to school. Without the arts, many of our kids wouldn't be as academically successful as they are. So we want you to know that we continue to support the arts. We appreciate all that you do to help students become well-rounded and find their creative sides and gain confidence and grow in many ways. We encourage you on March 6th to go downtown Fort Myers and witness the amazing works of our kids musically and artistically. So thank you for taking the time to come and remind us, and as I said, we continue to support the work that you do. Mr. Daly, thank you for continuing to advocate for a living wage for our teachers and staff, and we will continue to talk about this. We have not taken a vote yet. So let me see then who's next. Mr. Navarre, thank you for coming and sharing the information that you've received regarding the half-penny sales tax. We appreciate your persistence and you coming to see us on a steady basis. And Stephanie, thank you. I appreciate your outfit. I know that it is something that people comment on. In fact, I asked Ms. Gittens if I could borrow hers for Friday night. And yes, and I saw the story. I understand that one of the ladies from Hidden Figures is coming locally to visit and speak at an event, and I appreciate you mentioning the many people who we should be talking about during Black History Month who have made an impact on our communities and our country. Thank you. Ms. Ware? Yes, boots on the ground does it every time. And I know that the Census Bureau is now paying $18 an hour to people who can make their own hours and work from home. And so I encourage people who have the time and the energy to help with that and get out into those neighborhoods and help the people to fill out the paperwork, because every body counts and we really need to do that. And I'd like to thank Mrs. Vaughn for her continued advocacy for the census. Mr. Martin, thank you very much for coming and so eloquently giving us your opinion. It matters a lot, and we appreciate seeing you again and hope that retirement is treating you well. Thank you. Okay, so then at this time, we will be moving right along. Thank you. Next on the agenda is approval of consent action items. The documentation for action items listed under consent is made available to board members 7 business days prior to the board meeting. We are expected to review all the material, and we have an opportunity to speak with the superintendent with any questions we may have regarding the recommendations. Some of these items have been briefed or workshopped with the board in advance of appearing on the agenda. Board members, are there any agenda items you wish to pull for discussion under the unfinished business tabled items portion of the agenda? Mrs. Giovanelli?
I have none.
Ms. Patrica?
No, thank you.
Ms. Gittens?
Nothing.
Ms. Vaughn?
I have none.
Ms. Morgan? I have none. And I have none. Is there a motion to approve the agenda's consent action items?
So moved.
Moved by Mrs. Giovanelli and seconded by Mrs. Vaughn. Please record your vote.
It just went off. I'm sorry. Can you take an audible for me? My computer went down.
Mine too. Okay.
There it is. My audible is yay. Has it gone down already?
Carries.
The agenda items.
6-0. Included in the approval of the consent items on the agenda are the resolutions proclaiming March 1st through 7th, 2020 as National Foreign Language Week, March 2nd, 2020 as Read Across America Day, sundown on March 6th, 2020 to sundown on March 7th, 2020 as National Day of Unplugging. I'm going to try it. March 20th as Arts in Our Schools, March 2020 as Arts in Our Schools Month, March 2020 as Irish American Heritage Month, as well as National Women's History Month. Dr. Pruitt, would you please introduce any administrators in attendance with a new assignment who were improved under the consent agenda?
Yes, I'm happy to make 2 introductions this evening. The first one is Jose Cuevas, who is replacing the famous Richard Itzen. He is going to be the Director of Accountability, Assessment, and Research.
Wow.
And rounding out our legal team, we were happy to introduce James Holloway, who will be the Staff Attorney for Business Services and Labor.
Welcome to both of you. We look forward to working with you. At this time, we have an attorney's recommendation for a good cause.
As many of you might be aware, on, I believe it was Thursday of last week, the entity Goodwheels, Inc. Ceased operations effective immediately. The school board has an agreement with Goodwheels for a school bus fuel agreement that allows them to fill up their buses with using district gas and then reimburse the district plus an administrative fee. Within the agreement, there is a termination provision that allows the board, I'll just read it, the board may terminate this agreement with shorter notice or without any notice whatsoever if Goodwheels ceases operations. Since Goodwheels has ceased operations, my recommendation, and we're seeking approval from the board to terminate the agreement effective immediately. It's also my understanding that there are some monies owed under the agreement to the district, so we would ask also as part of that the superintendent be authorized to pursue collection of those monies through whatever, to the means that he deems appropriate and necessary, and then to execute any documents necessary for this as well.
Thank you, Mr. Quick. You've heard the attorney's recommendation that the board approve to terminate the agreement with Goodwheels Incorporated as a result of Goodwheels Incorporated ceasing operations. Approval authorizes the superintendent to collect any monies owed to the district by Goodwheels, Inc. and execute all related documents. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Mrs. Vaughn, second by Mrs. Gittens. Any discussion? Ms. Giovanelli.
I just want to say that it's a great loss to the community. Well, we don't have control over any of it, but it is a great loss. And so I just wanted to make that statement.
Thank you. Okay, any other discussion? If not, then please record your vote.
It's not up there.
It's not coming up.
It's there.
Motion carries 7-0. Thank you. We will now recess the regular school board meeting and open the public hearing. As indicated, the public hearing this evening is to receive comment on the proposed 2020-2021 instructional materials plan. At this time, the public is invited to speak on this one item. The time allowed for comment is 3 minutes. Is there anyone in the right or left section who would like to address the board? Seeing none, I will close this public hearing and convene the regular school board meeting of February 25th, 2020. At this time, we are at board members' comments or reports. And may I start with you, Ms. Giovanelli?
Sure.
Okay.
Okay, so I actually have been visiting a lot of schools myself, and I've been to Franklin Park, which I want to talk about. They have a program there from the United Way is part of that, and they truly are going to be a wraparound school for the community. So I'm personally going to embrace it. They've already have a few little things they need, so I'm going to be dropping that back off to them. But I encourage everyone to be aware of that because it's going to be a great thing for the community there. I also was at Harns Marsh and Middle, and I was there on Valentine's Day, which was lucky me because apparently they have a chef in the house, as we know, and I had meatballs for breakfast and meatballs for lunch that day that were homemade, and they were delicious, I might add. It was actually, I spent most of the day there, and I got to see their dance team. They had ongoing shows during lunch for anybody to attend. It was just a great day for them that day, and for me for being there. Actually, I think I benefited probably more than anyone else. I also was at Cypress Lake Middle, and they're waiting on pins and needles, waiting for the state to make a decision on that school and what is going to happen to them. So I hope that the state gets us an answer soon on that. But one of the other things that I wanted to bring up was that I was at South Fort Myers High School, and I had the ability to they let me weld in their welding program. So you were talking about being with students and that was an opportunity for me that I said sure. I had no idea what I was going to be doing, but I was welding. So it's a great program, and I encourage everybody else to go out there and weld too, because it was nice. And I actually got to do it with the teacher that is nominated for one of the Golden Apples, and I don't remember his name, but he's a wonderful gentleman that heads up that welding program, and he's in that picture with me. Also, I've got to see our own hero, Sammy Watkins. He was at Sammy Watkins Day at the Commissioners, and Mary and I got to attend that, and that was great. And there's going to be a pep rally this Friday with him at South Fort Myers High School, so if anybody wants to attend that, that would be wonderful with me. So, and that's really about it. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Patrica.
I forgot something from this afternoon, I'm sorry. We are supposed to give our reports in the afternoon. I beg your indulgence for a second. So there was an outdoor classroom / pavilion that was damaged at Three Oaks Elementary School during Irma. And an individual in the community, Dr. Larry Burns, has worked with the Rotary Club there to finally get it repaired. And that pavilion has now been named after Dr. Larry Burns. And I just want to give you a little bit of his background. He is a transplant here from Canada, not a recent transplant. He began his career in education as a junior high social studies teacher. He went on to become a professor of colleges of education, a lot of different colleges, to include being the dean of colleges of education, including FGCU, where he retired, I want to say in 2005. and he continues to teach there in a part-time capacity. Dr. Burns is truly an example, I think, of the kind of community support we need for our schools to be successful. And I just want to read a brief quote to you from him in a newspaper article where he was featured. Dr. Burns does not aspire to leave a legacy in the community. Quote, "I would hope people would remember me as a person of integrity with a passion for teaching and learning, a compassion for less fortunate, and a loving husband and father." And he has continued to take his dedication to education from his career, and he's now sharing that with the students in Estero, and I'm grateful to him, and I wanted to share that with my colleagues. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Ms. Jordan?
Well, thank you, and I do know him, and he is a wonderful person.
He is amazing.
Yes. And Ms. Giovanelli, couldn't wait to see the pictures because they spoke about this to me. They were telling me all about it, how courageous you were, and they were not sure that you were really going to wield anything. He said, well, you just jumped in there.
My dad was a little amazed too, I might add, just saying.
But it was great, and yes, we'll be there on Friday as well. I did forget to share the legislative, we had the legislative committee call on Friday, and what they're wanting us to make sure that we are making sure that we're paying attention to House Bill 7079, which is the assessment and accountability, and that we'll have the turnaround options on that, which is concerning that after a year they can just come in and take it. So we really need to be paying attention to that. And so they're sending us all the information so that way we can reach out to our legislators, to give them, and they want to know what impact this bill will have on the district as well. So hopefully we can get some of that information back to them so they have more. The more information they have throughout the state of Florida, the better it is. And then also the term limits, House bill, well, it went through the House, it passed through the House. So legislation now is going to the Senate. The Senate has a bill, but it has different verbiage in it. And that's all that we kind of discussed this past week, because they're so busy going back and forth. It's in the 6th week of session. And so we'll keep you up to date, be on the phone on Friday again. That's what we're doing.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Ms. Gittens?
Okay, a couple of things really quick before you put my pictures up. I have a concern about how can our board request an information on, for data, reports, and all of that. How can we address the fact that if an individual board member wants information and we're told if the board approves it, then it will be done? I think that that's an injustice to each individual board member who may not have the same requests as everyone else, and yet it's important to them to get that information. So I just wanted on record that somehow we need to address that. I have asked on several occasions for information, one about the individual number of portables at each individual school, and I have not gotten that. Also about internal investigations, and I have not gotten that information either. So I just want to put it out there, at some point, we need to discuss how does an individual board member get their questions asked if the rest of the board votes that they don't want to address that. The other thing that I wanted to address, we have several positions for administrators in the district, and I'm thinking of two in particular that have not been filled. We have one principal that is doing double duty at 2 schools, and I'm not sure why. We have a pool for principals and a pool for assistant principals, and if the staff or the district decides they're not going to select someone from that pool that's been vetted and that has all of their I's dotted and T's crossed, while they're waiting for the pool to open for someone else to get in that they prefer. I just think that's an injustice to the people that are in the pool already, and without words, you're basically saying to them that they're not okay, that they're not acceptable. or they're not qualified. So I'd like to know why positions, especially in areas that really need the help, are being held up, and for what reason. On to lighter things. Ms. Moreland, if you're still listening, I do not recall getting anything from you, but I will get your number, and I will call you when the meeting is over regarding Riverdale. The census, I know Betsy's Ms. Vaughn will give an update. I'll just tell you, in the Lehigh Complete Count Committee, we want to invite everyone to come on March the 14th. We're doing what's called the Census Blitz, and we will have 3 locations. One, we're closing down a street, 1 block in an area of our hardest to count citizens, and we're going to them with food and music, and be able to, we'll have the Goodwill van out there that has computers that can help them to participate in the census right there, or they can do it on their phone. And we'll have at least 2 census workers at each of our sites that day. So, you know, we're moving along. I would like to request, one of the things that's being done in a lot of other areas is that there are computers either in the lobby of a school or in some location where parents, when they come to either pick up or drop off their students, there are computers or laptops available that they can just walk in and the information is there and they can sign up. I believe that would really, really be helpful to a lot of our people that do not have computers and connectivity at home. So I just wanted to put that out there. But put on your calendars, March 14th, we're going to have a couple of parties at the same time. Our pictures, do we have mine up? And I'll just tell you real quickly. No, I didn't weld. Keep going. Okay. We heard talk about the students that did the pictures that were shown. This was the lunch we had, and as I mentioned, at Harns Marsh, and as I mentioned, it was interesting because one of the students, when I said, what's the biggest challenge, and they all said 7th grade, that we just kind of lose our minds in 7th grade and don't know what to do. But we get it back in 8th grade, they said. So they were all very interesting, great conversation. And I challenged my board members this afternoon, or parents and community as well, visit some schools, but when you do, make sure you sit down and talk to kids, because that's when you'll know how the rubber meets the road. Next one, please. And if you ever have a bad day, go visit the, is it Children's, I know I'm going to mess it up, the Children's Council of Southwest Florida. It's, you know, the preschool, you know what, I'm trying to remember the name of it. It's the preschool that they have. And it's, goodness, I apologize to you guys, but it's CC Southwest Florida. Anyway, if you have a bad day, take a few minutes and go visit and play with kids. It was a blast. And they're just I ate rock tacos, and didn't really, but they were there. But it was a lot of fun to visit the little ones. And this is why the census is so important. I cannot even fathom that there is a waiting list to get these kids in to learn. Next one, please. And I went to a tea, and we wore pearls, and we had our fingers in the air at G. Weaver Hips. They had a tea. You can do the next picture. Oh, go back 1 second. Those were not flowers, they were cupcakes, and they were delicious. It was beautiful. They were stuffed with all kind of stuff. Next one, please. And this group of young ladies are the young ladies group at G. Weaver, and they all wear pearls on Wednesdays, and they wanted to have a tea for the volunteers. So all of the grandma volunteers and community people came in, and we had tea. Thank you. And at G. Weaver, they had a vocabulary parade. So I thought this girl was really cute. She looked like her word was extraterrestrial, and so the way her costume looked like she was being carried around. It was just really cute. Next one. And this guy, I love his face. He was a storm, and his face looked like it. So, next one. And diversity. And she had all kind of data on hers as well. It was very nice. Next. And this was one of our winners, the airplane.
Very good.
Next. And I love this one. And she's the real SRO. And this, she wanted to dress like the SRO. So, next one. And this was us. I was plethora, so I wore like 7 hats on my head. And I was a plethora of hats. But it was a lot of fun. And thank you, G. Weaver. Next one. I think that's it. Okay. Thank you very much.
Great, thank you. Ms. Vaughn.
Thank you. One of the pleasures of being on the school board is getting to go out to the schools and participate. And even though March 2nd is the official Read Across America Day, the schools have been inviting all of us, and I know all of us have different schools that we're going out to. So I did Trafalgar Elementary, a first grade class this past week, and I have one at the end of the week, another one after that, as do my fellow board members. And it really is fun. Now, would I have traded my juniors and seniors from my career for first graders all the time? No, and bless those teachers and their energy for teaching the little ones, but they are awfully cute. I am the liaison to the Curriculum Advisory Committee, and I think I've mentioned this before, but we are focused on ELL and the fact that our ESOL population is growing by leaps and bounds. And at last night's meeting, we continued with some wonderful presentations from Dunbar High School and Tice and Bonita Elementary. Thank you. I should know that because I'm going out to visit them next week. Anyway, speaking of the millage, as we mentioned it a little while ago, there is a really pressing need to add to our ESOL department, and especially we need a lot more ESOL specialists to keep up with the growth in this district. But I did have the opportunity to go out to the international centers at both Dunbar and South Fort Myers High School, and that was a really good experience. And it seems like different schools, depending on their populations, have different ways of meeting the challenge to lift up our non-English speaking students and get them to where they need to be. I did go out to Varsity Lakes Middle School not too long ago, and I wanted to give them a shout out. I had a great visit there, and they have had some challenges in the past, but they are doing an amazing job of turning everything around. My tour really focused on different things that they're doing. Their R&R room to support disruptive behavior, alternative, so they have, as I think some of our other schools have, an alternative to the Success Academy because they really want to keep the kids right there in their school. And I went into that particular classroom for a while, and the teacher there is just phenomenal. He has so many different skills, and the kids, it's another case of they know what's going on, and they go in there as I guess as privates, and they rise through the ranks, and if they don't have any disruptions or behavioral problems, then they keep going up in the ranks. And one boy that was in there took me to the bulletin board and showed me how the ranks went, and some of them have been in there for 3 weeks, and they get to go back into core classes, one class 1 week, one class the next week, and so they're just kind of fed back in to that program. And I was really impressed with that program. Like many of the schools in our East District, Varsity Lakes faces an extreme overcrowding problem. I was told that the school was built for 950 students and that they currently have 1,350 students and 10 portables. And again, they use every inch of that school. Let's see. I thought there was something else, but I'm going to get to the census right now. We have met, there have been, for instance, it was Dr. Spiro and Irma Lancaster and I and Michelle Mullsbury, who is the census partner rep from Atlanta. We've all met, and one of the issues that we talked about was what you mentioned, Ms. Gittens, about the computers and about the computer access for many of people in the population of Lee County. One of the issues, and I know you said maybe after school or in the lobby or something, but actually that we talked about that, and it's a safety concern about that. And as we get closer, and we're almost there, since March 1st is this weekend, we're almost there to the time of the census, and hopefully there are going to be a lot of community groups. I know the meetings that I have been to, the complete count committee groups, they're all finding ways to get the computers out there so that the people have an easier access. Of course, they can always use the phone, and they can request a paper questionnaire. The card that will come in the mail is one that gives them the access directly if they want to do it online, but it also gives them the information on getting a questionnaire, a paper questionnaire, or doing it on the phone. Next week is Statistics in School Week, and I mentioned this 2 weeks ago at our board meeting. All the social studies teachers in our district have received, the secondary ones, have received information on the census and lots of copies of activities that they can do in their classrooms. And again, this is something that's being done nationwide. In terms of the boots on the ground issue, I know that Ms. Ware and I think she left already, have had this discussion a couple times, and the role of the school district, and this is something we've talked about in our district team meetings on it. We're education on this. We have people like Ms. Gittens who went on her own, because she loves her community, into her community to do organization and to get something going. I sent a message out to all the board members a few weeks ago. I'm not sure if any of the other board members are working in their communities, but certainly I can provide information to anyone on where you can find ongoing active community groups. Some of the churches are doing that. A lot of the civic organizations are also doing the boots on the ground. Again, our role stops at the education and putting it into the classroom and really emphasizing to the public, to our public and the citizens of Lee County, how important this is to us, because programs like the school lunch programs and some ESE programs, Head Start, Early Head Start, these are federal funds. And Ms. Gittens pointed out, when looking at the children, those are the ones that are typically and traditionally the undercount. And we need to get as close to 100% as we can. And it's going to take the work of the whole community. So I invite all of you out there to find a complete count committee that you can work with. If you want to earn some extra money, they are offering now $18 an hour, and it's a temporary job, but it's part-time, it's temporary, and it will go on for quite a few months. Paid training, it's something to keep in mind. And finally, we're already there, our great communications department. You've seen videos, and you saw a poster that they did a while back, but they actually created the video on the census that you are about to see.
More than $800 billion are on the line. What is it, you ask? It's 2020 census time. The point of the census, that's easy to see, to count every person, every you, every me. And that's huge for the school district of Lee County. The data is used to make all kinds of choices. It's important for them to count all of our voices. Make sure to count everyone living in your house, even small children, but not the mouse. Inaccurate counts in our communities means our schools won't receive adequate tools and opportunities. Billions of dollars go to schools throughout our nation towards Title I grants, school lunches, and special education. The money funds grants to improve teacher preparedness and preschool programs that promote school readiness. An accurate census is key, yes indeed, for our schools to get the funding they want and they need. Money to serve every child who walks through our doors. The data also helps determine where to build stores, offices, businesses, hospitals, and schools. An accurate census is such a great tool. Every 10 years, we get the chance to get this thing right. Our students are counting on us to ensure their future is bright. Keep an eye on your mail for a card just like this. When you get it, do not discard or dismiss. You may respond online, by phone, or by mail. We know you can do it. We know you won't fail.
And I just want to point out that this was the world premiere of that message. So we're going to be putting it out all over, but you got to see it first here. So that's it.
That's awesome. Thank you. Is that it?
Yeah.
I'm going to back up for 1 minute to Ms. Patrica.
I completely forgot to acknowledge you, Attorney Martin. Can I still call you an attorney? Yes, Attorney Martin, that means you're still licensed to practice. I miss you tremendously. And I don't miss you as a person, I miss you as an attorney at this table. I'm being serious. I think the fact that I miss your professionalism at this table is indicative of exactly what you were talking about from the microphone. This isn't about personal relationships. This is about the individual who has the ability and the capability, the qualifications and the pedigree to do the job. And I appreciated your words of encouragement for this board to do the right thing tonight. And I'll just, I mean, I like you as a person. Don't get me wrong. But what I miss the most is your presence at this table. So thank you for being here tonight. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Patrica. Ms. Morgan?
Well, thank you, Mrs. Patrica, because I was going to comment to Dr. Martin as well. You know, in the past, when we've had to make important decisions as a board, we've talked about, you know, what are we responsible for, and, you know, what do we bring to the table, and we bring our head and our hearts. And I think there's been a lot of conversation about heart at this table. I think Mr. Martin has made it very clear that hard knowledge is critical to the effective execution of this job. And I want to also express my gratitude for him making a very articulate, direct statement about what we need in this school district. So thank you very much, and as you said, I do miss you. Thank you for being here and speaking. Oh, and I will make one other comment. I want to thank Victoria Hahn for talking about designs and dreams. I love walking down the hallway. Every time I need to go somewhere in the district, I find myself stopping somewhere and looking at a piece of child's art. And the talent is just stunning, and it is such a pleasure to have that opportunity every day. So thank you to the artists in this district whose work we get the pleasure of sharing every day. Those are my comments.
Thank you very much.
I have one more thing. I'm sorry.
Okay. Well,
That's okay, if you can't.
well, no, we did it once, so Ms. Giovanelli, then
Mine's only
Ms.
going to be,
Whitman,
one of my
please.
pictures was on there was the Fort Myers High School mock trial. They won districts this weekend, and they go at the end of the month of March. They go to, I think it's Orlando for state, and I just want to recognize them for that, because that just shows how wonderful our schools are and our students. So that's all I had, real quick.
Thank you, and then Ms.
And
Gibbons.
I just wanted to say thank you to our two newest employees and welcome. We can't wait to have you at your spots and getting busy. So thank you for joining us.
That's it.
Thank you very much. Yamisel.
I'd just like to thank the board here because without them, none of students would not have such a big voice in this community. So I'm really nervous right now, so I'm not thinking really clearly. So our students here in Lee County have great ideas and great opinions, and so this district allows students to voice them. So at my school, Varsity Lakes, well, I did a survey for like 100 students. I didn't get that many students to do it, but they said what they wanted the district to improve. And I can say that every idea I read on there was just amazing. I also want to talk about the district's support of the arts programs at many schools. I myself am part of the band at Varsity Lakes, and the district has supplied the students and allowed them to show their personalities through art, through theater, through band, and the district. Honestly, I just can say the district is extremely well. It's extremely great. Sorry, I'm nervous. Thank you.
Thank you, Yamisel. And I will say that Yamisel is representative of our many members of our student advisory. And he's right. Their ideas and their problem-solving skills are amazing, and they've helped us a lot with student code of conduct and food and nutrition. And so we really appreciate you and your colleagues on the student advisory. I was at a meeting of the Lee County Bar Association, and they happened to mention, Mrs. Giovanelli, about the mock trial and what a great showing our students make each and every time. At our DAC meeting last week, Lori Brooks and her team presented on the comprehensive and mental health, and it was a very informative presentation. There's if you look at mental health on our website, there are many resources there. The work that they've done is outstanding, and I wasn't able to get all the feedback from the groups yet, but when I do, I'll report that. Let's see, on Monday, March 2nd, at Cape Coral High School, the Lee County School District and the NAACP will be sponsoring a forum. We'll have staff members there, and we invite you to invite your friends to come out and find out everything they wanted to know about the School District of Lee County. And you don't have to live in Cape Coral to come. Anyone is invited. I want to thank Brian Williams, Ryan Hudak, Chuck Bradley, and Leisha Roy for representing us at the All Together Conference sponsored by Equality Florida in St. Petersburg. Gender equality is a big issue now, and so we are well represented at the table for this conference, and I really appreciate that. Let me see what else we have here. So, speaking of the board attorney, when we directed staff to, at a workshop, to go ahead and advertise to see if we had any viable candidates, they did that. They advertised, they reviewed all of the applicants. They assisted the board in setting up a good selection process, and I wanted to mention that it's my information that they also saved us about $25,000 or $30,000 in the process. So thank you, HR. I had an opportunity to attend the Golden Apple Breakfast and the reception, and it was really a pleasure to talk to the people who are nominated and doing an outstanding job in our classrooms, and also to catch up with some of our winners from the past to see that they are indeed still making a huge difference in our district and working in a dedicated manner. One last thing, I read at Trafalgar also in a third grade class, and the principal selected the book for me, and it turned out to be an amazing lesson, and I probably had the most fun I've had in weeks in that classroom. So I want to thank Mrs. Myers and her third grade class for welcoming me and letting me have such a great time. And with that, I will ask Mr. Quick if he has anything.
Just one thing. It relates to a potential lawsuit by the school district related to the jewel manufacturer for the vaping issues. If you recall, in early January, there was a presentation. A law firm had reached out and asked to give a presentation to the board, which they did. So I just wanted to follow up on that to see if there's a consensus as to whether that's something you would like to pursue. I don't need a vote approving anything, because obviously a retainer agreement would need to come back. Since then, we've also done our due diligence to look around to see if there are any other firms that are doing this work and would be potentially interested in representing the school district. A gentleman by the name of Gene Pettis is doing that, although he has indicated to us that he wants to focus on his current clients and decline to take on representation for Lee County for this. Another firm by the name of Morgan & Morgan has actually, they're handling it, but they have recently sent a copyright infringement claim to the city, or to the district, threatening litigation. So they are actually potentially adverse to the district. So I did not reach out to them because there would be a conflict there if they are adverse to the district. I should mention that the claim does not relate to anything that the district has done and is being handled. So I want to assure that the board is not. They realize that is not an issue, but they are currently making an adverse claim against the district. So that would leave the Mayer Law Firm, which is actually the entity, the firm that made the presentation in January. So if the board is interested in pursuing that, we would reach out to them so that we could bring back a retainer agreement for the board's approval if that's something they're interested in pursuing.
Madam Chair, as a point of order, could I recommend that we have the attorney bring this up more appropriately during a briefing or a workshop, during either his comments or good of the order, so that we as a board can have a discussion before moving forward?
And Board Member Patrick, if you recall, I did mention this yesterday, and I indicated that I would be bringing it up today.
I didn't think you would bring it up during the action meeting. I thought you would bring it up during the briefing meeting.
Board members, then is the consensus to have further discussion, or do we want to see if we want the attorneys to bring forward a retainer agreement? So, Ms. Morgan?
I have no comment at this time. I'll wait till the others have spoken.
Okay. Ms. Vaughn?
We have discussed this, and from the information that I have, I would say, go ahead. That would be my...
Thank you. Ms. Gittens?
It's the dress, it takes my name away from you. I mean, we have discussed it, and am I to understand that we're at the point where there's really only one viable firm that we can look at this point?
Yeah, if the board is interested in pursuing it, and then we would bring it back for a discussion as an action item.
And I apologize, did we get consensus that we wanted to pursue it by the board?
No, we did not. That was why I was bringing it back to get
Okay,
that,
so in that case, then I suggest we bring it up at either workshop or briefing so that we can decide that.
I can address it at the next
Okay.
either workshop or briefing.
Thank you. Ms. Jordan?
I would like to have it addressed at a different time.
Thank you. Ms. Patrica?
I may have a comment.
Yes, thank you. Ms. Giovanelli?
Well, we have talked about it numerous times, and I was ready to say go forward, with the lawsuit and picking the firm, so.
Thank you. Yes, and we did have a presentation by the firm, and we got the information. And so I would be in favor of pursuing it based on the information I've received regarding other school districts around the state. Okay, so I guess then you'll bring it up at a
I can bring it up in 2
subsequent
weeks.
workshop or
Yeah.
briefing. Okay, thank you very much. And finally, Acting Superintendent, Dr. Pruitt.
I just want to say the highlight of being in this role is sitting next to this young man here. Definitely makes the future bright. So it's a pleasure, and I know you're going to do great things. And while I appreciate serving in this capacity for all of you, I am looking forward to Dr. Atkins' speedy recovery and looking forward to him returning.
Thank you very much. We appreciate you being here tonight. And Mrs. Johnson and team over there, thank you for keeping us straight. And let me see. Oh, come on. The next scheduled meeting of the board is on Monday, March 9th. There'll be a workshop at 1 p.m., followed by a briefing meeting at 2. And on Tuesday, March 10th, there'll be an action meeting at 6 p.m. At this point, having no other business come before this body, I'll entertain a motion for adjournment. Moved by Ms. Vaughn and
No.
That was me. Sorry,
Ms.
I jumped the
Gittens,
gun.
okay. And second by Ms. Giovanelli. Please record your vote. Vaughn and
That was
Giovanelli.
Gittens and Giovanelli.
Oh, Gittens and Giovanelli. G and G.
The one in the dress, right?
Okay.
Not here. Yes, please. Exclamation point.
Motion carries 7-0. This meeting is adjourned, and everyone's home safe. Thank you so much for being here.